is disgraced ex-doctor Andrew Wakefield. Wakefield is seen by many as the founder of the modern anti-vaccine movement, since he was behind the paper that started.
Do we watch? Maybe I'll play a little bit of it, and then maybe if you guys are feeling for it, we can watch even more. Maybe. Yeah, he pushed an entire... He started the entirety of the vaccines-cause-autism nonsense because he wanted to be the one profiting off of the vaccine.
Don't worry, vaccines are perfectly safe, according to me. You might notice a little prick.
Hello and welcome back to hell. I'm just vaccinating my profiteroles, immunizing them against the horrendous disease known only as not enough cream.
British food be like.
Unfortunately, while vaccines are great at stimulating my balls,
Can I be honest with you guys? I hate when they make the baked potatoes and all the ingredients are cold. Does that make anyone else depressed, or is that just me as like a stupid dumb American? I hate when they put the cheese on and the cheese is like unmelted and cold. It makes me so sad. The only thing that should ever be cold is sour cream. And that's it. Everything else is supposed to be warm.
humans, they've become quite the controversial topic. In the late 90s, an anti-vaccine movement started to pick up steam, claiming that they cause autism. And the movement has plenty
You're right, and you should say it, thank you.
of washed-up celebrities flushing it, including what's-his-name, and that one, and some more. Here's 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, coming out against medicine. He once famously tweeted, "No more massive injections. Tiny children are not horses." I mean, of course they aren't. Horses aren't even real. But if there's an entire movement of people with documentaries and websites and Facebook pages with thousands and thousands of members, backed by the former US president, why does everyone else seem to think they're obviously wrong? Has the mainstream medical establishment science cucked a majority of people into thinking they're safe so they can keep making money selling them? The vaccine debate is complex and multi-layered and hasn't been resolved for over 2 decades, so obviously it needs me to come and put an end to it in the space of a single YouTube video, by doing what I'm best at, destroying things with my mouth. Oh, hi Mum! Was I vaccinated?
Have you been looking into moving out lately, son?
Now, the clever clogs among you will know that there was an anti-vaccine movement of sorts in the 1800s when they were
Yeah, I've seen enough. Vaccines definitely cause autism.
first introduced, but that movement died out on its own a long time ago. Of smallpox. The main argument in the modern movement is that they might cause autism. So let's see what, on paper, this claim is supported by. Yes, I just ended a sentence with a preposition, and if that annoyed you, we get it, your school was expensive, we're all very happy for you. Part 1. The easy version, in case you don't feel like watching this whole fucking video. In 1998, a study came out alleging a link between the MMR vaccine and autism. MMR vaccinates against measles, mumps, and rubella, which saves kids from having to get multiple painful shots and parents from having to know what rubella is. It was published in The Lancet, a very well-known medical journal, which made it seem credible. However, the paper was eventually found guilty of being bad. The science turned out to be bonkers, and multiple other studies on literally millions of children did not show that there was a link, and the paper was eventually retracted by the journal that published it. So retracted that it literally has retracted written all across every page in...
Sorry, really quickly. Some chatters were talking about, like, religious exemptions. Trust me. I am aware of religious exemptions. I was trying to find the exact case that I had written a paper on. The shortest version of it is that there is this strict scrutiny test when it comes to imposing requirements on individuals and citizens, and there are exceptions to the rule. But vaccines would be one of the exemptions that would allow you to force people regardless of their religious identity, because there is no other remedy to give. There's nothing that someone can take outside of a vaccine, or rather that the Constitution has in it the ability for us to demand this. Not that there are not people today using religious exemptions. Okay? Like, I'm trying to think of like a good, like just a random ass analogy. Just a totally random ass analogy. No one is stopping you from going to the grocery store and buying 1,000 bananas. No one's doing that. No, you can go to the store and buy 1,000 bananas. Right? The produce guy might, probably not. They don't have 1,000 bananas. If they had theoretically 1,000 bananas. You're overestimating my purchasing power. Just because it's not happening doesn't mean you can't do that. If we have in the Constitution carved an exception for instances when people's religious freedoms may be ignored or prohibited, I don't know the exact wording here, you can impose requirements on these people regardless of their religious freedoms. Like, it already exists that we have this as a possibility. It doesn't mean that currently, right now, there aren't schools there aren't like religious schools that you don't have to get your kids vaccinated at, or that there aren't people right now doing that. Because I saw like one person writing this stuff, and I'm not talking about whether or not it's happening. I'm talking about whether or not we can make it never happen. There are multiple exceptions. Denims, yes, you can. There are exceptions. There are multiple exceptions. The exemptions depend on the state. Also, many of these religious communities homeschool their children. So yeah, there was, and then I saw like some people being like, as a teacher, there are definitely kids that have religious exemptions that they don't have to do that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about whether or not it's happening. I'm talking about whether or not we can enforce mandated vaccinations. So I remember reading about this case. The short version of this case is that I'll read the background of the case. Sherbert, a member of Seventh-day Adventist Church, worked as a textile mill operator. 2 years after her conversion to the faith, her employer switched her from a 5-day work week to a 6-day work week, including Saturdays. But according to her belief, it forbade working on Saturdays, Saturdays being the Sabbath. She refused to work for that day and was fired. She couldn't find any other work, applied for unemployment compensation. Her claim was denied, even though the state's ineligibility provisions exempted anyone, whether religious or not, who was unemployed for good cause. The decision of the South Carolina Employment Security Commission, chaired by Charlie Verner, was affirmed by a state trial court and South Carolina Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court found that the government's denial of her unemployment claim was an unconstitutional burden on the free exercise of her religion. And the idea here is, can the state get or can a person still get what they want and the state get what they want despite the religious freedoms, right? Is there some other workaround? Like maybe she would be down to work theoretically like Sundays or whatever. Enshrining religious liberty was a mistake. You can tell that to France. I would proceed with caution with this idea. But continuing, let's see here. In Sherbert, the court set out a 3-pronged test for courts to use in determining whether or not the government has violated an individual's constitutionally protected right to the free exercise of religion. You can skip some of this stuff. This is the most important thing. However, not all burdens placed on religious exercise are constitutionally prohibited under the test. If the first prong is passed, the government may still impose the burden on the individual's free exercise if the government can show it possesses some compelling state interest that justifies the infringement. I would say children not dying and having measles outbreaks is a compelling state interest to ignore people's religious freedoms. When there is a prevailing government interest, religious freedoms matter significantly less. The only point that I was making was I wasn't saying, no one has any religious exemptions in the United States. Are you dumb? That's not what I was saying. Do people currently use religious exemptions to get out of vaccinations? Obviously, yes. However, we have in writing that if there is a compelling enough reason, your religious freedoms do not matter more than this compelling reason. that would be to everyone's benefit, including the state's benefit. Paralegal student here, the underlying precedent for this case was landmark Lemon versus Kurtzman was overturned in a crazy case a term and a half ago. This would no longer be legally binding if they brought it to court. Complete circus court. Yeah, but my understanding is that the strict scrutiny test still holds. That part wasn't overturned. Which is the basis, and the basis of what I'm talking about is whether when the government has the ability to ignore your rights as a citizen. So thinking of like eminent domain. Yes, you own your property at any point. You own it, absolutely, except when it comes to the government. If the government's like, no, we want to buy a freeway, or we want to build a freeway here, they can just buy your house out, whether you want to or not. So it's a standard of review. It's not a rule. No, sorry, I misspoke. I didn't mean to say rule. Apologies. Does that make sense? Does the point I'm talking about make sense? That the idea that there is no way for us to have requirements against or impose some burden on citizens because of despite their religious freedoms. That's you know. You got to look at Unemployment Division versus Smith, and then more recently Fulton versus Philadelphia. I think I read about versus Smith. And to the people being like, no, some of these things are overturned. Okay. And that's why we stack the court. And that's why we do exactly what we did with the gay cakes. Send a case directly to the Supreme Court and have it be overturned. This is like, okay. I understand what you guys are trying to talk about. Imagine if I was talking about Roe v. Wade and bringing up the way that Roe v. Wade was protected by the Supreme Court. And it was protected under the guise of privacy. And people being like, oh, Roe v. Wade was overturned, by the way. It's like, okay, no. I'm saying whether or not it's possible for the US to have this as a rule. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Whether or not it is plausible for the United States to force people to get vaccinated. And I'm saying yes. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe I should have said that from the very beginning. I apologize. I'm looking at a chatter. Gulp. I don't think we ever said the government couldn't force people to. No, I was saying that like religious freedoms are not a good enough rule that like citizens shouldn't be protected from other people's religious right to not get vaccinated. Like, why the fuck should I live in this world where you guys just don't vaccinate your kids? What the fuck? I should be able to demand that my government builds a society that is safe for me. And there were people saying, no, you can use religious exemptions. And I was saying, okay, but all of the religious exemptions that we have gone back and forth and back and forth. We absolutely can mandate this and force this. For things like measles? For measles? Yeah. I should have the freedom to not get sick from your dumbass. Exactly. So my name is so fucked for this conversation. Hepatitis, please stop. Does that make sense? All right. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, we took like so many twists and turns. I wasn't clear in the very beginning.
Big red letters. My printer just does black and white.
Basically, public good can, has, and should override religious freedoms. If you want the religious freedom to be able to use like a prayer mat in public, yeah, that doesn't impede anyone else's life. If you want the ability to take, a 5-minute break from work to pray, that doesn't impede anyone else. People take smoke breaks. The public good is not being harmed by someone taking a prayer mat out and praying for 5 minutes. However, you not getting vaccinated or you not getting your kid vaccinated for measles might get a bunch of other kids sick who are already immunocompromised or kids who can't get the vaccine. So actually, no, right? You're not allowed to sacrifice people to an altar because it's your religion. Well, I think that would be slightly different, but I don't know if that is also under the framework of public good or if that's just like, this is against the law in these other ways. But yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was reading chat.
So I've actually got an artist's impression of the real version. So far, that's some pretty shaky ground on the anti-vaccine side. But later, new evidence came out that... Oh, that's it. That's all the evidence. This segment is over now. Part 2, the existential horror of... Wait, that's it? No, seriously. That's all the evidence. There is nothing else even remotely credible. There are some fringe pet theories as to what chemical in the vaccines causes the autism, but since vaccines don't cause autism, they're kind of putting the cart before the squid here. The anti-vax movement had next to no evidence 20 years ago, and now they have even less. But hold on there, Daddy-O. Sure, you can sum up the entire issue in 52 seconds, wow. But really, I don't think that's good enough. Everyone who's anti-vax at this point has probably already heard and isn't convinced by the easy version. I mean, if you're on the fence about vaccines, you're not going to change your mind because someone told you there was a paper once, but it got retracted, no matter how much they pitch shift their voice in post. But what if you did want to change someone's mind on topics like this? The data on this issue is discouraging. Research shows that when someone becomes personally invested in an idea, they can become very close-minded, or worse, a YouTuber. Political science professor Brendan Nyhan and his team spent 3 years studying how over 1,700 parents reacted to various different attempts to convince them to vaccinate their children, and found that no matter what they tried, parents who started out against vaccination didn't change their minds. And worse, trying to correct false claims about vaccines actually made some parents more against vaccinating. Nyhan told The New Yorker, "It's depressing. We were definitely depressed." Now, as a fellow fan of logic and reason, I'm also doing great. But in today's particular, shall we say, socioeconomic climate, it's extra pressing that we figure out how to get everyone on the same page with regards to public health. So the purpose of this video isn't just to point out a group that's wrong about something. The real question is, when someone is wrong about something, not just this, how do you change their mind? Now, personally, I'm not sure how to do that. If it was easy for humans to change their mind about stuff, then this video wouldn't need to exist, would it? But maybe we'll find some answers by exploring what convinced people vaccines might be dangerous in the first place. We should probably begin with that old 1998 study, because let's be honest, how many people on either side of this discussion have actually read it? People don't read scientific papers, they check out the blogs or videos of people who they already agree with and they tell them what the science said. And I mean, same. I heard all the other people say the science was bad, and...
Sorry, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Everyone say bye to the chatter.
I believed them. And the anti-vax people probably just believed whoever told them it was true. So, to be unbiased about this, let's really start at the beginning. Look at the original paper. That's the wrong page. Let's actually read this old paper and see what it has to say and come to an honest conclusion about its findings.
5 minutes late.
What the fuck? This is why people are against vaccines? This is the worst fucking paper I've ever read in my life! Right, let's talk about the study. I'm calling it The Study because its real title was Ileal Lymphoid Nodular Hyperplasia, Nonspecific Colitis, and Pervasive Developmental Disorder in Children, which is a bit of a tongue twister. I had to do a not insignificant amount of Googling to find out whether it's pronounced ileal or ileal. Don't know why I bothered. If I got it wrong, it's not like you would have noticed. The paper's lead author is Dr. Andrew Wakefield. I'm sorry, there's a mistake in my script. The paper's lead author is disgraced ex-Dr. Andrew Wakefield. Wakefield is seen by many as the founder of the modern anti-vaccine movement, since he was behind the paper that started the whole thing. Let's keep an eye on that guy. Oh, fuck it. The smoke machine occasionally goes off on its own for no reason. I can't be bothered to get up. The paper's supposed purpose was to investigate a connection between bowel disorders and developmental issues in children, in particular targeting signs of autism. So first off, what's a colitis?
I'm so sorry, I totally forgot that there was someone else in here that I meant to talk about. Hey, chatter, I'm going to be as clear as I can be. First of all, if you respond to any other chatters while I'm speaking, permaban. Second, if you don't respond to me, permaban. Third, could you just be less annoying? You understand, like, I'm annoying enough to make up for everyone else, so I need to make sure no one else is annoying. Do you understand? I can bring enough of that. So I need you to be less annoying. And you're typing kind of like cringy. You're typing like a boomer. Like, everybody born after the 90s is dumber. Can't understand sarcasm and nuances. It's all pretty sad. That's the reason they don't understand jokes and take them at face. Hey, no boomer speech in here, man. It's really cringy. Like the whole, yeah, basically right after I was born, everything was worse and everyone is dumb. Unlike me. It's really cringe. It's really cringy. So if you could stop. Oh, you don't know how to not be annoying and cringe? Is that what you're telling me? One ban, please. Because I'm just asking you to be like funny. Do you know how to do like funny? Any funny messages? Like, do you have like a good knock knock joke or something? Like, because all I'm asking you to do is just be funny. That's it. If that's too hard, that's okay. You can just say that. But I'm Denims' backup annoying person for the stream, just in case she's not feeling annoying that day. So basically, we're all good on annoying. Sorry, my friend. And then I'm pretty sure there's somebody else behind me. So yeah, yeah. We're all full on that position. You know, we don't need anyone else in that position. Anything else? Are you gonna type anything in response? I'll give you like, I don't know, 30 seconds. No, nothing. Nah, peace. So if I don't ban you, will you keep typing? Or are you actually gonna leave? Because that'll be the ultimate test of cringe. All right, let's find out, guys. Let's find out if he's cringy enough to write peace but stay and keep typing, or if he's based and he'll like actually leave. Let's see.
Right, hold on. Okay, colitis is inflammation of the colon, one of the main symptoms of bowel diseases like Crohn's disease, for example.
Colitis.
By the way, we're going to use words like bowel, colon, and intestine interchangeably in this video. Don't let it confuse you, they're mostly the same thing. If you're a doctor, pretend you didn't hear that. The paper says non-specific colitis because it's not looking for specific kinds of inflammation. It's looking at whatever inflammation these children happen to have and seeing how they compare, because maybe they're all linked, and maybe they're even linked to the autism. According to Wakefield, he just happened to notice a lot of kids with both autism and bowel disorders, and he launched the study to investigate a possible link. But what does all that have to do with vaccines? I mean, surely it must have found something for it to have caused all this controversy. Well, allow me to list the paper's highly scientific findings. Some of the parents of the children in the study think they remember the autism symptoms starting after the MMR vaccine. No, really, that's it.
Findings. Onset of behavioral symptoms was associated by the parents with measles, mumps, and rubella.
Remember, guys, this was the original starting point of autism caused by vaccine. This is why all of this stupid shit started, by the way.
Vaccination.
For literally decades, right, I've been hearing about this paper, and I've assumed that there must have been something there, like something to at least explore or discuss or debunk.
You know, something that the study failed to recognize, and anyone with two eyes, I feel like, could have recognized this.
They should be kissing Denims' feet.
That as well. Both of these things are symptoms of being assigned hot bitch at birth. Because everybody knows hot bitches always have tummy problems and are autistic. So this is like, I feel like we're failing to recognize what the original root source cause of this was. You know? Chatter said, my wife's best friend is married to a big conspiracy theorist, and I learned a few weeks ago that their 3-year-old hasn't gotten any vaccines and he won't let him get any. Oh my god, I do have tummy problems and I'm autistic. See, assigned hot bitch at birth. Bombed, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs and the tier 1. What the hell? Thank you.
Everyone lost their fucking minds over it, so surely there's something, and I finally go and read it, and it's just a bunch of fucking parents' opinions. There's nothing there. I can't fucking believe this. Like, seriously, the disconnect between the attempts at real science and the stuff the parents think they remember is, like, so jarring. Like, next to colonoscopies and biopsies and graphs of urinary excretions, you'll suddenly get sentences like,
He received a dose of measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, the day after which his mother described a striking deterioration in his behavior that she did link with the immunization.
a note from your mother isn't science, it's how you get out of PE. I'm sorry, coach, I didn't really have polio. Maybe some home decorating will relax me. I love this poster because I'm smart, and now all my guests will know I'm smart. I have tons of guests, I'm a party animal, I have a charisma of at least 6. I wonder why The Economist interviewed ContraPoints and not me. There. Perfect. Does that look alright to you? No, Rachel, don't wave the camera. That's not how people communicate. Page 3 of the study provides a table listing each child's behavioral diagnosis, largely autism, and also
My son has Crohn's. He has ADHD too. His grandmother, born in the early 1900s, also has Crohn's. Also, I love how we blame vaccines. Let's not look at the crazy chemicals in our water from our factories or whatever else has actually increased in the last century. Well, you know, like there's research that shows like, I don't think it's red 40. I think it's like yellow 5 or something like that. It's banned in the EU because it's linked to like attention problems in children. And it's not banned in the US. Like, I don't know, man. What if we looked at any of the stuff that we don't need that serves no, like, I'm sorry, yellow 5 serves no purpose except to better market candy. Like, we also, red 40 is also not good, but I think, there's been like some studies that I've read that maybe link hyperactivity in kids, right? It's not like guaranteed, like this yellow 5 is definitely causing children to have ADHD. But like, it's just food dye. Like, we don't need that food dye. Why would we allow a product that literally serves no purpose at all, just so that the company gets to market their product a little better? It's like vaccines serve a real purpose. That they save millions of lives every year. There is no purpose to your red Skittle being a little bit more red, or your yellow Skittle being a little bit more yellow. Like, it's not necessary. Or we can look at like nutrition that kids are getting, and that's probably impacting a lot of different things that we don't know anything about. And instead of looking at any of these things that actually might be impacting child development, it's got to be the vaccines. Like, it's so insane. It's like, it's so fucking crazy to me. And like, I don't know if you guys remember middle school and remember pizza day and like birthdays. I didn't care that the vanilla cupcake had no dye in it. I was just excited to be having cupcakes as a kid. This idea that like, no, the kids aren't going to be interested if the colors aren't as vibrant. It's like, it already is appealing. It's a sugary dessert. Like, they already are getting all the crack they need. Like, we don't need to die. Like, there is no purpose. It is not in the interest of the public good to have food dye that causes negative problems or might be linked to negative. We don't even need to do more research on it. It's like, oh, this thing that we don't need might be causing some problems. Why the fuck is it still legal? And fat kids have always been around. You don't need dyes to get kids to eat food. Exactly. Like, I understand, like, if there is something that's serving some public good and it might be linked to something else, yeah, sure, let's do more research. The second I hear that some food dye might be linked